Happy Monday. Happy new month, new week, and new month, August. Um, just usual stream, panel, stream. They've been going so well lately. I figure just keep them going. More of the shit show, as Frank would say. Hi, Frank, if you're out there. All right, let's check news. News. Oh, hang on. Okay, there's Hurricane Debbie coming. There's something going on in Bangladesh. Oh, the PM resigned? Bangladeshi PM resigns as deadly anti-government. Wow, so they're like, is this like their J6 moment? What's going on in Bangladesh? And then Iran is threatening to do something to Israel. Let's see. Hey, skeptic. Twi- are, are you in? Is it headed to Florida? Is last time I looked, it was like in the Gulf, doing the west coast of Florida. Damn, from riots. Damn. Okay, they're putting our George Floyd and our Chaz and our J6, all of that to shame. Or that's a credit to us. I'm reading about it now and trying to figure out weeks of deadly anti-government demonstrations. So they've been doing this for weeks. Um, the protesters stormed the official residence of the prime minister. Flames billowing from vehicles near her house. Police unable to contain throngs of people charging toward the neighborhood. Scenes of people clambering atop a statue. Let's see. Carving away the head. They cut the head off this statue with an axe. Wow. What is it? Did they have an election or something? Wow. There 13 police officers killed. Oh, okay. Let's see. Why are they protesting? It says anti-government. Well, anyway, that's happening in the news. Um, oh, it's in landfall. Okay. What category is it now? No, I see it come up on the headlines and like not even the top story. I think today maybe it's the top or the second. But I don't click it myself. Yeah, Debbie is the top. This is on the Google news page. Debbie's the top, at least on my end of it, and the Bangladesh is the second, and then something about Kamala Harris, and then if you go to world, Bangladesh is the top, and then Israel and Iran, and then some riots in the UK as well, which they're describing as far right riots. So stuff is kicking up. This feels like 2020. This is how 2020 was. I'm still trying. They shut down the internet too. I'm still trying to see what they're have accused the government of using excessive force against protesters. But what are they protesting about to begin with? Oh, it's those job things where they set away. Yeah, you fucking with people's money. That is gonna piss them off. they set aside like a certain number of jobs for people that are, what is it, a certain religion or ethnicity. Why are students protesting? The government quota system, which reserves more than half of civil service jobs for certain groups. And they're worried about the Schedule F over here. Some relatives of veterans who fought in so these are jobs set aside for veterans of one of their wars, their War of Independence in 1971. That's when they gained their independence. So the veterans that served in that war, there's certain jobs that are set aside just for those veterans. Um, the roles have job security and higher pay, and the protesters are saying that's discriminatory, and that they start filling the jobs based on merit and not just because someone is a veteran. I'm just wondering, do they have a political process where this could work itself out, or is that they're um, escalating from, like they're going around a political process, or does their system leave them like, is this the next step for addressing this grievance? I do know that people are losing, at least in the U.S., trust in institutions, just in general, in all kinds, any kind. Just if it's an institution at all, they don't trust it. I wonder if that's like a global trend. Hang on. Wow. Because if trust in institutions break down, then you're left with, what is it? Might on right, might makes right. The state of nature. Um, so maybe if there's a correlation, if trust in institutions are breaking down, partly because of all the shit people see on social media that spins off these little narratives. Um, the institutions themselves are, a lot of them are taking actions that are compromising trust. Institutions are only as good as the people in them, and people like I never have high ideals or hopes or expectations of humans. So I'm always very realistic about what to expect if there's Homo sapiens involved in running it. Um, Except for Americans, I have great faith in my own countrymen, and I think that we're gonna keep this marvelous country going. So I do have faith there. But so I guess Homo Americanus, I have a slight, maybe misplaced faith in. But Homo sapiens in general, if they're the ones in the institutions and creating the institutions, I don't expect perfect. I just expect it to work. I expect it's like an old junk car. You want it to get you from point A to point B. Can it get you to the Walmart to get the groceries, to load in your trunk, and back to your house? That's all these institutions have to do for me. So I don't have these high noble ideals. It's nice when there are people in there that can live up to that kind of excellence, but I don't expect it. I just know how rare it is, even in my life, and my interfacing with the institutions. If I go to the DMV and I come out with my driver's license, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be the Palais Royale Club Med experience. And they don't have to be Mensa geniuses in there doing it. They just have to get me my license. I think they will. And you know what? If they don't, and now everyone's allowed to challenge. That's part of free speech. And even the indictment said that Trump was allowed to question and challenge the elections. But once it's challenged and investigated and it's determined, like it was in 2020, um, consistently, just every time they look at it, they determine that there wasn't fraud. So when it's that definitive, anybody who doesn't accept the results, whatever side it comes from, I will oppose that. I will join in the resistance to stopping that. Whatever, if it's whatever violence or unrest or democratic norms they attempt to break or anything. I will oppose that. If we don't find a way to restore some trust in our institutions, I don't. How do we keep a society going? Whether the trust was legitimately um, lost, like the institutions themselves have some work to do to restore some trust, but the people also. Some of it, I think, is confirmation bias and talking yourself out of reasons to trust. And I was thinking about this last night because it came out how, hey, Daniel Barry, how personal politics is. We think we're talking about abstract philosophical principles or values, and or at least I think that, and I go out of my way to try to break it down to that type of stuff in the conversations, and to kind of remove it from the personal. But maybe that's not what's realistic. That the personal is like everything is downstream from the personal. Like each person's personal story is where the politics is and is where the conversations happen. And all of the emotions and the passions and the trauma and the fears and the anxieties and all of that is part of the politics. And to try to have discussions separated out from that, maybe that's not giving me a realistic sense of politics. It's giving me an intellectual understanding of them, but I don't know if that's what our politics is. Hey, Spike, good morning. How are you? Oh yeah, Bangladesh. Let's see. So they're protesting this quota system, and it escalated. It started in at one university, Dhaka University, in July, and spread to other campuses. So it started on the campuses, and spread to other campuses, and then cities. In almost daily street gatherings that included rail and road blockades. They became violent on July 15th when members of the student wing of the ruling Awami League Party reportedly attacked student protesters inside the campus. Since then, it's been clashes between security forces, protesters, and government supporters. Wow, this part of it reminds me of like Kent State, and part of it reminds me of Evergreen. But here's what I think about student protests because really, we didn't do them at my little college. That wasn't a thing. I did do some political events when I lived in Austin. I wasn't a student there, but we did them on the UT campus. But I wouldn't say they were protests. They were more like demonstrations or education. Some of it was even performance art. But my thing when I see all these protests, like if I were in the administration that they were protesting, I would I would ask them to give me their most rational people out of your crowd that's angry. Give me the people, two or three people that you think can have a rational conversation. They can be passionate and excitable and all that, but someone that you think can make it through a rational conversation about what it is they're angry about. Um, because part of protest, I think, is to communicate. So you're trying to communicate your grievance, your anger, your dissatisfaction with something. So I would try to find out what that is and talk through that and see if there's solutions or at least understanding that can be developed around that. And so when I see all these angry protests just for weeks and weeks, I wonder, is that process are there people behind the scenes having these conversations and trying to understand and negotiate and get it resolved? And at the very least, because I know this from working at mental health, The protests are kind of like the people in the facilities or even outpatient that are angry. Maybe it's about something irrational. It's rational to them. I don't know what's going on in their head, but they escalate. Sometimes they can get violent. They can throw things, hit walls, try to cause physical damage. Sometimes they can attack a person or a staff member. But the most important thing, other than the physical safety, like once you get the physical safety under control, um, understanding what happened, understanding that behavior. Why did it happen? What was going on in their head? What was the roots of it? So my instinct always when I see that kind of conflict is to try to understand it because I don't like that's where a solution is going to come from is through that understanding. So that's my reaction when I see these protests is are there people doing that in the meantime and why is it taking so long? Because if it is, just come get me. I can help. Maybe I can go talk to them or tell them to come on my show. If there's anybody out there protesting and you feel like you're not being heard and you want people to understand what you're protesting about, come on here. I'll listen. I can't promise it'll be always pleasant or like a safe, cozy experience, but I'll at least listen. I can't guarantee my reaction, but I'll listen. I will listen with the intent to understand. I'll do one more than just listen. I will listen with a specific intent. I will do my very best. Oh my God! Wow, are you? Wait, Chuck. This is momentous. Are you serious? We're 30 away. Okay, I think if we're that close, I think I can do one big like Facebook friends and family. Hey, we're close. Can you like? And maybe a Twitter thing. I have a Twitter following. I think I could do one last social media push and maybe come up with some of that 30. Wow, this I don't want to get hopes. I hope that's wood. It's like that prefab furniture that you put together from IKEA. I don't know if there's real wood in this place at all. The floor is wood. But I feel like it could happen this week. I feel like this week could be the week. There ought to be a celebration for this. Like the Jewish people have the bar mitzvahs, and the Catholics have First Communion, and like high society has the debutantes, and the Hispanic people have the quinceañeras. This is a really momentous transitional event. This is going to mark one. See how I'm already blowing it up and idealizing it? It's going to mark a transition from one life stage to another. And so there should be like merchandise that they sell around getting your channel monetized. Birthday cakes, balloons, gifts, mugs. You got monetized. Congratulations. And people send cards for, oh, you got monetized this week. Here's a card to celebrate. Like, I think it's that big of a deal for me in my little Spurg head. But yeah, and thank the credit goes to all of you. Thank you. Whatever you did to help get those numbers, because I'm just one person. I could only subscribe one time under each account. But you're the ones liking, subscribing, spreading the word, coming here every day, watching, participating. This is a community effort. All right, I guess I understand Bangladesh relatively well enough to dive back into it later if I need to. And Bex and or Frank, if you're out there, what is the status on our uh, scholarly research today? We have several episodes to catch up on. Our reality TV, our documentary television, educational TV. That's what I call it. Should be on PBS. I do. I learn more from watching these shows probably than because I didn't pay attention to people growing up. I really, really didn't. Um, as long as I could do my own thing, I wasn't really worried about what other people were doing. And as long as they weren't in my face harassing me, I wasn't worried about it. And so that's the only times really that I paid attention to people, unless I wanted to, unless they were interesting to me and I had a reason to pay attention to it. But just random general people, classmates, people around town, people at the grocery stores, at the shopping store. I just didn't really observe them very closely at all. My sister now, oh man, she's like an electron microscope of observation. Like her eye is so, and in fact, I think the fact that she was doing it at the level she was made me give up on doing it at all. Because I'm like, I'm never gonna notice all the stuff she's noticing, so I'm not even gonna bother. I'll just let her be the people watcher. And so for most of my life, I honestly didn't pay attention to people unless they intersected my life somehow and there was like a reaction to them that suddenly gave me a reason to pay attention, good or bad. It could be either one. But then as I got older, particularly, I tell you what did it the most was moving up here to the Pacific Northwest because I was forced to, because the culture was so different and so weird. I had to figure out what was going on, what is the difference between me and these people? Why are they like they are? I had to like figure out their theory of mind and psychology. That was the first time I had been in a situation where I was so radically different from the people around me that the only way out of it was to study them and figure out what was going on. And so that's a very recent thing for me, is observing human behavior. And I mostly do it from the outside looking in. And I look for patterns. I don't consciously look for anything particular. I just see what I notice. I just watch what people do. And I noticed there's like two layers. There's like the individual layer where specific people have just a pattern that's unique to them, and they're going to do and respond and react in very idiosyncratic ways that I can only associate with them. But then there's another layer of like group dynamics where it doesn't really matter who you are or what your individuality is. If there's a group dynamic pattern that's happening, any person in the group can take part in any part of the pattern independent of them as an individual. So there's like these group patterns that I notice too that emerge or get stimulated into being somehow that seem impersonal, and they seem to work independently of any one individual or individual's patterns. So the individual patterns have validity up to the point that they start to intersect with these group dynamics, and then the individual patterns seem to be less significant or relevant at that point. But if a person's consciously aware, like with the drama triangle, if there's enough people in the pattern that are aware the pattern is happening, they can sometimes collaborate, or if it's one person, redirect or like consciously manipulate the pattern in a certain direction. Hey, Philip, how's it going? Wow, Phil, we're less than 30 away from monetization. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. I guess I should plan the reaction and the celebration ahead of time, like a video, or I don't know. What do y'all want? What are some ideas? This is really your achievement. I kept the channel going, and I kept it running every day, like so people would have a place to show up. But what's something we could do to like mark this milestone? We could have a panel dance, or I don't know. We've been trying to get boobs on here for a while. I'll talk with our boob person. Oh, that's a great idea. Like a 24-hour stream to celebrate being monetized, and it'll be a challenge to see. I have to trust people with some controls to make that work, don't I? Maybe a 12-hour stream. I'll start in the morning when I wake up, which is usually pretty early, and I'll plop my behind in this chair. I'll have my snacks, my pots of coffee, and then it'll be like a marathon. I'll keep it going. We'll see when I give out. Maybe it'll be 14 hours. Maybe it'll be 16. Maybe it'll be 24. Because I did some all-day streams during Christmas, New Year's Eve. I did some all days that went pretty long, and those were fun. And they had different random people drop in and just celebrate the holiday together. So maybe something like that. It was so far off of a goal for so long. I'm not good at futuring at all. So I didn't really mentally prepare for it. I still don't know what to expect. But I know that it might be coming just around that corner. And then I have to switch into a completely different gear of thinking. Because that's going to unlock features that I can start building into the channel experience. Yeah, 24 might be too much, but maybe some kind of all day. Because I notice some channels are doing it now, but they have collaborators. It's not just one person running the stream the whole time. Although someone did point out that I could put content onto restream while I take a break and then just come back to it. But also StreamYard itself has a 12-hour limit, I think, when it gets to 11:59 or something. It no longer captures it, so you have to get it on you to get it archived again, you have to restart a new stream. So 12 would probably be the most I would want to go anyway before I had to restart. Hey Angel, how's it going? What's up with you? And y'all can come on if you want. It's open panel. I have nothing going on except for Survivor, the new episode of Big Brother. There's some other movies we talked about. Research, documentary, educational research we talked about doing. So outside of that. Oh, wow. I like that idea. I have been wanting some kind of community fund for a while. And I've seen Andrew Wilson be very generous when he gets large donations. He finds viewers who might benefit from it, or he finds ways of feeding it back to his community. I've seen him do pizza parties where if you get his attention somehow with the right comment, he'll send you a free pizza. He'll have a free pizza delivered to your door. I love the idea of how can a community give back and be a positive force for good in their ecosystem. Because part of the power of community, for me, the big power is the mental health benefits you get from connecting with people like yourself that you can feel normal around. But another benefit is with the community itself, because it creates this synergy that's larger than any one member. And so what effect that power has the ability to have on a larger community, like on a society. Wow, that's pretty admirable and impressive, sir. Oh, let's see. This just in. Emergency dispatch. I'm being summoned. Speaking of, I summoned demons. Because they're calling me to my Survivor Big Brother anthropological educational research as we type. I'm not typing. As I talk. As you type. As we all commune together in the community. So I guess I will. Wow, only 30 minutes. That's probably enough. So what I'll do is I'll go do my research with my team, and then I'll come back this afternoon and throw up another one, or do another one tonight. Last night we went like what, 7, 8, 9. It was long. Uncle Fatty came up and had some really interesting conversations, like I always do with Fatty, but these particularly interesting, and we have some ideas for more. So you can check that out if you want. Animated Effigy and Jack Darko were on, and I really enjoy conversations with those guys. They bring a layer of intellectual heft that I appreciate. So um, hopefully more of that, more of those. Part of that, I, do I want to spill the tea or not? Let me try to be diplomatic. You know, as you get up in years, I guess managing and timing your life becomes more and more challenging. And so I better stop. I want to keep, believe it or not, I want to keep some level of harmony in the community. But yeah, part of it is herding cats. That's a good part of it is the herding of cats. Whatever factors are contributing to that, that is the core issue. So once the cats get herded, sometimes it happens while I'm live. Hey Chuck, how are you? Our revered elder. Good to see you today. So, plus, hey, in fairness, nobody came up. I tried. Kept it open for over half an hour. I touched on a few topics. We found out some stuff going on in Bangladesh. There's probably some parallels to extract from that. Um, it's interesting to know about, regardless. I had no idea. I knew about the quotas and the protests. That's all my American brain let in. And now that I know it's like way more detailed and complex than that, um, it's much more on my radar now. So I really do. This is, I don't know how crucial this Survivor is. It really is an entire education. It gives you an entire language, lore, and kind of point of common reference for discussing human dynamics, politics, interpersonal and intrapersonal dynamics. It endless fascination for people that geek out on that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to go do right now, and I'll be back later today, and we'll fire this up again and see what it brings. All right, thanks again. Seriously, I'm not. I am. I am not the greatest at intellectual humility. I'm trying to learn that. That's another thing that came up in our conversation last night, and I have been thinking about it. I take notes even when people think I might not be taking notes because I appear defensive. Like I said, it doesn't impair my rationality, my perception, observation. That's still all going on. But I am not the greatest at intellectual humility. What I am a little better at is gratitude and appreciation. And so I definitely feel that for all of you. And I don't want to get too sentimental or overwhelmed. That's what I'm not good at, the sentimentality part. But the gratitude is there. It's repressed. I'm dissociated. Most of my emotions are repressed, but I do feel the stirrings of it, and it is real, it is profound, it is deep, and it probably scares me in some way. The amount of affection and appreciation and gratitude that I have for this community. So I think I'm gonna leave it on that and go do my Survivor geek out. I know it's hard though because I'm usually right. That's the hard part is when you have such a consistent pattern of being right. It's hard to know what when those times are to relax that and give the controls to someone else, and maybe their perspective is the one to consider. Like maybe there is merit. I'm not infallible. I'm not omniscient. It's just knowing where those limits are. And I try to use like induction from experience to figure that out, but I it's hard. I trust myself, particularly with me, particularly being an outlier. I trust myself to know my life and my experiences and what I need and how I process it. Then I trust somebody else to know that. So if it involves anything approaching the realm of the self, which as a pragmatic solipsist, most things do, it's very hard to hand that over to somebody else. But there are times when I can be convinced. Rationality is a big that's like the royal road to convincing me, and maybe a hot, sexy cop daddy or something. Um, yeah, I'm fine personally. In fact, I am consistently more and more encouraged every time I'm on this thing. At how I'm probably setting myself up for a big fall, but I am um, suspiciously optimistic right now about how things are going. Yeah, and you know what? I could too. I've dated a few of them. Um, when I experience from other people, it is so off-putting. It is so obnoxious. It is so alienating. I have this visceral hostility that rises up in me, even though I know I'm that for somebody else. Like I know I'm having that effect on somebody else. Like I know right now, even with all of the raw, primitive animal antipathy I'm feeling for this person right now, I know somebody else is feeling that toward me because I'm appearing that way to somebody else. I know that. And it bothers me. It really does. I don't know what to do about it, but the awareness is there. All right, Frank, I'm coming. Yeah, I like to live a lot. Yeah, yeah. I think truth is largely subjective and therefore valid. I think subjectivity and objectivity are very awkward, clunky way of speaking about this to begin with. But I think the subjective part of truth has value and is very difficult to dismiss. I don't think humans are objective machine. I think we're human and we have human biases that we're not going to overcome in our lifetime generation stage of evolution. Yeah, not laws. That's another hard thing. I don't even. In fact, I don't know which one's harder. If I had to pick, do I want to do the intellectual humility challenge or the forgive and forget challenge? I am really not sure which one I think I would excel at the best. And the forgive part I can get to. It's the forget part because it keeps coming back. I'm not in control of when it comes back, but it doesn't stay forgotten. Oh yeah, I'm fine personally. I need to get a job or income uh, to keep my bills going. That kind of stuff. Like what it's self care, life taking care of you, adulting. That's that. I have some adulting to do, but outside of that, I'm like mentally, emotionally, socially, I'm fine. I feel good. I get a lot of my own needs met out of doing this. So I do this in the hope that it helps other people. But in the process, I get a lot of my own needs met. So it helps me stay on track as well. I know I was about to say Frank, this is your enemy right now. If you could overcome this one boss, you have me. All right. I think I think I do a pretty good job of keeping my cool for me. and in relation to my past history with the keeping of the cool. I am very impressed and proud of my ability to keep my cool by my standards of keeping cool. I've come a long way in that area. Um, and I think I do a pretty good job of what I lose the cool over. Because it used to be, you think I lose my cool now. I used to lose it over way more things than I do now. So I think the range of what the cool gets lost over has become narrowed. And now it's like just really very specific things that have to do with the autism or micromanaging the panel or infantilization, and it's all kind of tied together. Or things like gaslighting and those kind of tactics too, where it's like a war of reality. Your whole reality is being compromised. Oh, I don't know. I don't. I guess I should fess up now. I'm not a Trekkie. I know he's a character on Star Trek, but I haven't. I don't watch the episodes. So you know what? If there's a clip of Spock having emotions, please put it in the Discord because I want to see. Or I can search it. I'll Google it. I'll search for a clip because I don't know the reference, but I would love to see the reference because you're right. It might help me. Hey, Zach. Good seeing you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Send me a clip. It gets even more interesting. It sounds like. All right. Thanks a lot, Philip, and everyone else. I'm being pulled away with the little cane off stage like they do in vaudeville, except there's a giant crusty gorilla on the other end of it. All right, take care, everybody. Let me run. I'll be back. Music, music. All right, bye.